Hey, what's up guys? Joker here, and today I am bringing you some fantastic news. This is news that I have been waiting to hear for probably 10 plus years. I think it's been since the original Uncharted game came out, and that is at least one of the Uncharted games, that being Uncharted 4, Thief's End, is coming to the PC, and that is according to Sony themselves. That's right, Uncharted 4 is coming to PC. Now, of course, we could maybe get the remastered collection at some point, but right now all we know is that Uncharted 4 will be coming to the PC, and this comes directly from Sony as they were reporting this to their investors. Also, we've got a leaked Geekbench benchmark for the RTX 3080 Ti, which is expected to be releasing very soon, so let's get fired right into the news. But first, today's video is brought to you by MMORC.com, where you could save money on games for all of your favorite platforms, as well as software like Windows 10 Pro, which you can get for just $15, as well as Office 2019 Pro and Office 365. And if you act right now, you can get an additional 27% off with my code JOK27 at checkout, and that'll knock the price down on Windows 10 Pro from $15.29 all the way down to $11.16. And of course, they accept a wide variety of payment from PayPal to credit cards to Bitcoin. So be sure to act now and hit up the links down in the description below. So as you can see, I'm not on camera today. Just wanted to do these really quick as I was quite excited about it, and I was going to take most of the day off. Posted a video earlier today with the American Truck Simulator gameplay. So unless there was something really, really cool that popped up, which this is, Uncharted 4 coming to PC. Admittedly, not the best Uncharted game. Probably my least favorite of the Uncharted games. But that's just me. I could be, everyone's got their opinions. If you played the other Uncharted games in Uncharted 4, I'd be curious what you guys thought of it down in the comments below. But to me, compared to the original trilogy, I found it a little bit underwhelming, just from a narrative standpoint, but it was still very good. The graphics were beautiful, voice acting and everything was top-notch, and overall, it was a good, solid game. I just didn't like it as much as the first three. Obviously, I would love to see the remastered trilogy make its way to PC even more, but let's get fired into the news topic itself. So Sony is holding their IR Day for 2021, and during this, they were showing their slideshows, which happens at a lot of these things, where they'll show press decks and stuff like that to the media or investors in this case. And on one of the pages, they actually show that their sales have been incredibly good for porting games from the consoles over to the PC. And shocker, I mean, who knew that you'd be able to make a ton of money by taking an already developed game and porting it over to the PC, which, compared to starting with an IP from scratch and developing it from day one to a finished product, comparing that to just porting an already finished game over to the PC, I imagine the cost to someone like Sony has to be quite inconsequential. I mean, sure, maybe they spend a few months porting it over, and maybe that's a few $1 million of investment, but compared to starting from scratch with a new game from day one until finished product, it has to be almost nothing by comparison. And according to this slide with their growth vectors for PlayStation Studios, they were reporting a return on investment of 250+%, because of course they are. It costs almost nothing for them to port these games over to the PC. For Sony, it costs almost nothing for them to port it over to Sony to take a game that was exclusive on one console platform and then open it up to millions upon millions of countless PC gamers that are now able to access these games. And that's not going to hurt their bottom line when compared to Microsoft in any way, because they're still collecting the money on these games being sold, and they're still going to sell consoles to people that want to buy consoles, and people that want to play the games on PC are going to play the games on PC. Uncharted 4 to this date still has not gotten a 60 frames per second patch. I'm sure that it will. At some point, Last of Us 2 finally just got one kind of out of nowhere. So I'm sure at some point Uncharted 4 will get a 60 FPS patch, but yeah, oddly enough, this is opening them up to realizing they can make a ton of money porting their games that are 1 to 2 years old over to the PC, as recently seen with Days Gone. Last year, we saw Horizon Zero Dawn, which are all mentioned in this slide, and new geographies like China, Russia, as well as India, where I believe those particular markets do have a vastly majority of PC gamers compared to console gamers in those markets. That's just kind of my feeling and things I've seen people talking about it and stuff. I don't have any hard numbers for that, but it seems like in countries like those, specifically PC gaming is more popular than gaming on consoles, probably because it's easier to source hardware versus than getting a console itself. But you can see in this slide underneath Days Gone, they mentioned Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, as more PC releases being planned, and that is how we know that Sony is planning to release Uncharted 4, A Thief's End for the PC, as they're reporting it to their investors. So they haven't made any trailers or anything like that. I imagine we'll probably see something very soon at E3, which will be just around the corner. But for now, we have this slide being reported to investors as Uncharted 4 Thief's End being a planned PC release, and with all the money that they're making on games from the PS4, PS5 now, coming over to the PC, they're making a ton of money off of their return on investment, so I can't imagine that they would stop anytime soon, and we're only going to probably see more games coming in the future, and even quicker probably after the release of new titles. So that's all very exciting to hear. More games coming over to the PC, especially PlayStation exclusives, which honestly, I think when it comes to exclusives, I think PlayStation just beats Microsoft, just absolutely beats the living shit out of them when it comes to platform exclusives. You can have your opinions about hardware. Xbox Series X is more powerful than the PS5. Okay, granted, they've got Game Pass, they've got those things, but honestly, to someone like me who doesn't give a flying fuck about Game Pass because I could just buy games because I can afford games, I'd rather have the games that I actually want to play, which are usually story, narrative-driven games with amazing graphics, amazing visuals, and new concepts, and that's really what Sony kind of delivers, and that's why I kind of have been leaning towards them in recent years, because, I like playing multiplayer games, I like playing online games and all that stuff, but there's an extreme lack in recent years of good story-driven games, because it's just more profitable for companies like Sony and Microsoft or any other publisher really out there to go ahead and ship a multiplayer online game and then just drill people with microtransactions into the fucking ground. So that kind of stuff, I still play some of them, but I don't buy into buying the microtransactions. And I would much be happier spending $70, even $80 to $100 on a good 15 to 20 hour single player title like Uncharted or God of War or Days Gone. That's just me personally. It's not going to be everyone's opinion. But those games are so few and far between nowadays that I'd even be willing to pay extra for them. Don't tell Sony that. But I love playing good story-driven games. Spider-Man, Miles Morales on the PlayStation, fantastic. Such a good game. And the Miles Morales standalone sort of expansion, also really good. God of War, one of the best games I've ever played. Days Gone, still haven't completed it. Uncharted 4 was okay, but the first 3 games I absolutely loved. So yeah, really excited for this to be coming to PC. Next up, we have a leaked Geekbench benchmark for the NVIDIA RTX 3080 Ti, which has still yet to be announced, but is expected to be announced on the 31st of May and then releasing a few days later in early June. I've seen rumors for June 3rd, June 4th. Nothing that I can confirm on that, obviously, but this is the first leaked benchmark that has shown up on the actual Geekbench database, so the likelihood of this being faked is very, very low. Where we could see the device name and ID as being the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 Ti with a max frequency of 1.67 gigahertz and a maximum threads per multiprocessor 5036, device memory 12 gigabytes at 9.5 gigahertz. And it looks like they were testing on a pretty decent system here too, along with the 11900K. So yeah, very solid PC here running at 5.3 gigahertz, so the CPU probably not holding it back in any way whatsoever, and the graphics card managed to score 238,603 in the Cuda Benchmark, which is not supported on AMD GPU, so we can't do a direct comparison with them. This is just a Cuda Benchmark, but compared to the likes of the RTX 3090, it's just very, very, very slightly behind. The RTX 3090, as you can see on the graph here, got 239,003. And yeah, this is landing at 238,603, so just very, very slightly behind the RTX 3090, which is, to be honest, what we expected. Of course, the 3090 does have more VRAM, things like that, 24 gigabytes of video memory, but the 12 gigabytes on the 3080 Ti very likely will not hold it back in any way, apart from, I don't know, unless you wanted to play 8K or something like that, but honestly, who's really doing that? So as far as CUDA core count, just being very slightly behind it, this is basically what we expected. It's going to be about 2 to 3% slower than a 3090, but we're also expecting it to be a fair amount cheaper if you can actually pick these cards up. We'll have to wait and see on that, of course. This is, again, it's a leaked benchmark. This is nothing official, but it's on the Geekbench database, so it's very likely accurate. and it seems like maybe reviewers have already started to get cards. Again, I can't confirm anything here, just reporting what's out there on the internet. This has been posted on the Geekbench database, and I found this over on videocards.com, and it's been on multiple other websites, so I'm just reporting what I found out there. Again, can't confirm any of the data that you're seeing here, but this is what is out there right now, and it's showing it to just be marginally slower than an RTX 3090, which is, as I said, I think we expected. This is what we saw with the 2080 Ti compared with the Titan of last generation, and yeah, it's basically probably what you'll expect to see when it comes to gaming performance when these cards eventually do come out, if NVIDIA ever wants to announce them. So yeah, that's like I said, it's what we expected. It's not really anything surprising here. It's going to be very, very slightly slower than the 3090, but it's probably going to cost a considerable amount less, as it has half the VRAM, according to this leak over on videocards.com. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm going to get out of here, and leave a like on it. Subscribe if not already, and all that good stuff. Catch you guys next time.